Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today we're going to be taking a look at Quicksilver's new Summer Days uniform, because unlike Silks, this one is available for purchase for crystals. But like Silks, like enchantresses and cables, this is going to be a seasonal uniform, which means it is semi-exclusive. It is not going to reappear again in any sale for any reason, presumably, until next August. So a year from now. So you really only have about 12 days, I believe, 12 days to decide whether you want to purchase this uniform. Now it is full cost crystal wise, it's 1,750, so you will not get any discount, and that is not subject to change. I waited a year to buy Cable Summer Days because I was hoping they would discount it. They never did. They probably never will. So it's 1,750, take it or leave it. To put that into perspective, like others have said, you know, Odin's newest uniform, Doctor Doom's newest uniform, etc., those cost 1,500 crystals when they're on discount. So this uniform is technically more expensive than Doom's and Dormammu's and Odin's and Jean Grey's, etc. So that is one negative. That's one con against this uniform. So what are the pros for this uniform? Well, there's quite a few. For one, he has a brand new 5th skill. This definitely does more damage than his old 5th skill through, you know, anecdotal testing. It still lasts as long as his old 5th skill as far as dropping these different items, but it appears to have more hits, and it obviously has the novelty of dropping anchors and yachts instead of just rebar beams and you know, taxis. You also have his new 4th skill, which is a shorter animation, and it also has an additional lingering effect there, and it has iframe ignore. So that's going to be the big one, especially for people who love using Quicksilver in Timeline and Alliance Conquest. This is definitely going to pair very well because he has base penetration, right? He's one of those characters like Scarlet Witch, like Apocalypse, who has a base chance to, I believe Apocalypse does, Cable has a base chance to penetrate no matter what. Just no matter what skill you're using. So that is a really potent combo because it means that when he pops his 4, there's nothing you can do to hide. You can't hide with iframes because it's iframe ignore. You can't hide with invincibility or immunity because he has a 70% chance to just chop right through that. So it will mean that he's much more lethal, but basically all of his buffs have come offensively, and they've actually come at the cost of a defensive buff. His new tier 3 skill, although you can cancel it, and although it does a lot more damage, it actually doesn't have any protection. So it'll be pretty interesting. It basically means that Quicksilver is a high risk, high reward type of character, but he'll definitely be more difficult to play than your standard characters because his heal is very small, and like I said, he only has iframes to hide in. He doesn't have any other defensive capabilities. So let me just show you really quickly here. This is the full animation on his tier 3. He waits for a little bit, and then he, you know, creates all these images that pop all these water bubbles that create this big splash. But what you can actually do, and let me just charge it up really quickly here, I've been sort of doing this by myself because it's really fun, is as soon as you see the bubbles appear, you can cancel, and you'll still get the full animation. So I'm going to cancel it into the 2nd skill because the 2nd skill has a pretty, you know, brief animation. I don't want to cloud up the screen. Actually, I'm going to cancel it into his 1st skill. His 1st skill has even less of an animation. So we're going to do 5, 6, and then as soon as you see the bubbles, you can cancel, and you can see there that the animation continues. So this is big for him. Not only does his tier 3 do more damage now, but it is also going to give him more flexibility because you can cancel out of it. Just to give you guys a quick recap here on his old skills here, you'll see that with his old uniform, we have basically the same 2nd skill, basically the same 1st skill, basically the same 3rd skill. The 4th skill is different. You'll see here that it's a longer animation. So it's quite a bit longer animation. It does still have that lingering effect, but it's a much longer animation. So that's kind of it's a good thing that they tightened up the animation. His 5th skill, again, same animation, but just throws around rebars, cars, and taxis. But then it's really the tier 3 where you can't cancel it because he's running around, and I'll show you here just in a second. But he's basically just running around with his tier 3. So you're going to use it here, and he's basically just running. As soon as you press something, it cancels it. So as you can see, as soon as I interrupted it with the 2nd skill, even though I had waited for the skill to start to animate, it just immediately stops the damage. So his 6th skill, now having that cancelability, does make it easier to combo, but because of the fact that his other skills remained the same in terms of their starting animations, like they didn't add an extra gap to the beginning of his 5th skill or anything like that, he's still going to be, in my opinion, hard to proc on. Some people say that he can proc on, you know, 5 cancel 4, and he's good with the CTP of energy. I personally think that that is you know, a lesson in torture. I've said it for characters like Vision. I've said it for characters like Iron Fist and stuff like that in the past. And I sort of stand by my assessment here for Quicksilver. Although, given the number of hits, energy would be the best option for him. Now, I just want to point out here, his old uniform, we've got nothing defensively, a heal, a 10% heal, which is pretty small, nothing defensively, and nothing defensively. And then if we go up here, we can see that his ultimate ability has 5 seconds of invincibility and 5 seconds of debuff removal. Those are both important defensive stats. If we go to his new uniform, for whatever reason, we can see that there is nothing defensively here, nothing defensively here, the same 10% heal, nothing defensively here, nothing defensively here, and then for whatever reason, they removed the invincibility on his ult. I strongly encourage the devs to put the invincibility back because it makes no sense to get rid of the invincibility, especially because they increased the debuff by 1 second. Instead of 5 seconds, it's now 6 seconds. They added some other things. They made it obviously stronger. They added the damage proc and things like that. They're obviously trying to make him more offensive, but I think he's just way too squishy now. He's just way too squishy. But we'll do a few comparisons here so you guys can see how much better he gets offensively. And the really nice thing is, like a lot of the other characters in testing, I don't have any obelisk. So this is just pure raw damage. Now keep in mind, Quicksilver is going to seem better than some characters against Null because he has so much ignore dodge, right? He's got a base 50% ignore dodge. We got stunned there, that was pretty bad. But yeah, the base 50% ignore dodge is huge because it means you don't really need to go very far with strikers to get a lot out of him. So we're just gonna go ahead and maximize our damage while trying to stay alive here. We're gonna go like this, we're gonna go like this. We're gonna pop the co-op skill to hopefully dodge the cage. We did dodge the cage, very nice. You can sort of cancel his 4th skill. But yeah, the continuous damage that he deals with his 5th skill, in addition to the high ignore dodge that he has as a base, definitely means that he's going to look better than certain characters against Null. And I think that I want to highlight that, not because I'm trying to undersell this uniform, but just because I don't want to oversell the uniform accidentally, especially because of how expensive it is and thing. Obviously, it's going to have more value for PvP that I'm not illustrating here, but personally, I don't think Quicksilver is going to have much of an impact in timeline battle, just because he has to still deal with killing Doom twice, killing Sentry twice. You know, Luke Cage and the defenders are there to just bop him. Luke Cage has ignore dodge on his passive, 35%. So he's just got a lot of hurdles to overcome. People still use Immortal Hulk, you know. More characters nowadays have ignore dodge. But yeah, so he gets that done in 1 minute and 10 seconds, which is actually, to be honest, it is impressive. This is a pretty fast time. It is. But to be honest, I feel like it does mislead. So we're going to go ahead and pop over his old uniform here just so you can see how much faster he is. And again, part of the reason is because I can't cancel. There's also not only that I can't cancel the tier 3, but apparently with his old uniform at least, he's better with the SFX on. So we'll turn the SFX on just to give his old uniform the maximum amount of benefit of the doubt, right? You're going to see his 5th skill have that little run by. But you'll see here what he can do is not that much compared to his old uniform. Okay, we're going to do this here. We're going to refresh the accumulation because we can't cancel the tier 3, so we have to wait for this spinning kick. Then we can go ahead into the rest of this combo. I wanted to cancel out of 4 because we knew we were going to do 4 with the co-op there. 5, 4. There we go, and now we can do this. So we're canceling 4 in some cases just to get back to 6. And then again, we're hanging in those iframes to give us a little bit of protection. But you can see the defense. Defensively, he's weak, right? Defensively, he is close to collapse, less than halfway into the fight. So you can see here, we've already gone over the time, right? And this is only going to get worse if we can even clear it before dying to poison damage. I really wish the heal lasted 2 or 3 seconds. That would really make a lot more sense given that he's a speedster and he has that like enhanced recovery. But as it stands right now, I think he's just too weak defensively, especially if you go, this is a pretty low stage for Null, right? This is only stage 9. If you're going to try to climb stages with Quicksilver, you have to play so carefully, because otherwise a couple of hits and he's just going to bop you. So we ended up being about 30 seconds slower. That's a pretty big deal, especially considering this is his raw damage. So this is the absolute least amount of time that would be gapped between them. If you were to give him an energy or another obelisk or whatever, that 30-second gap would get wider, because the newer Quicksilver uniform has more and more damage to leverage via the proc, right? A character that deals good damage will deal pretty good damage or very good damage with a proc. A character that has very good or excellent damage will deal outstanding, insane damage with a proc, right? Because it's always a percentage that it's multiplying it by. So if you're multiplying it by a bigger number, a bigger base damage attack, it's just going to do more damage, right? So here, what I want to test now is how he does against Mephisto, and I'm doing this to highlight, with the new uniform, of course, to highlight what I think is a huge limitation of this character for PvE content. Again, it might not matter for other content like, you know, World Boss Ultimate, because they don't do as much damage, they don't have as many attacks, they don't have as many patterns. But especially as a speed type who has, I don't know what his type advantage is, but it's like you know, the rank 3 or rank 4 at least. For him to be taking this much damage from Mephisto and being so squishy, it's pretty unacceptable. Okay, I don't have the I'm not used to the SFX on for that skill, but we'll just rock with it here. But another thing I want to point out specifically against Mephisto, and again, some people who want to see these speed uniforms, they want to see if these characters are going to be good for Mephisto, especially if you're a returning player and you had Quicksilver built up from a long time ago. You're like, you know what, maybe I want to use this new Quicksilver uniform against Mephisto, get myself some extra kills. You know, that's a good question to wonder, right? The thing is that the problem with Quicksilver is that his 5th skill continues to deal damage, which is great against other bosses, but bad against Mephisto. It's bad against Mephisto because Mephisto has the rage meter. That purple rage meter under his health bar that is going to affect how often he goes into that rage mode. And that rage mode is... Okay, we gotta be really careful here. I gotta run away. Okay, that was a mistake on my part. We got caught in that, but yeah, with no defensive abilities, since you can see the fact here that his the rage meter keeps building up, you end up in a situation where you're actually triggering this phase more often than with other characters, right? Because with other characters, what you can do is you stop attacking, and then you turn on your burst damage for whatever your duration is, and then you stop. But you can't really stop with Quicksilver's 5th skill, because as soon as you press it, if you don't cancel it right away, it's going to last for so long, right? And all of those hits just add up and keep building up that rage meter. So we're gonna... I kind of wanted to switch because I didn't want him to take all that damage. But as you can see here, despite his DPS, it's really not Quicksilver's damage that... it's really not his damage that I'm worried about, right? He can do this damage-wise, but defensively, he's getting crushed, right? So, and having to do this twice already is tough. And the thing that I want to point out is, obviously, he's going to do better with an obelisk or a CTP of energy or what have you. But when you go to higher stages, you're going to be in these middle phases longer, which means that you're going to have more opportunity, or Mephisto's going to have more opportunities to then trigger the enraged state. And of course, when he does that, then you're in trouble. Especially Quicksilver, because he doesn't have any defenses. So the 6 seconds of immunity on his tier 3 are actually really, really nice. I'm doing a lot better now than I was yesterday. I tried this out yesterday, and it was a disaster. I actually died with 2 minutes left. So we're doing a lot better this time around. But yeah, comparing this to Cindy, he doesn't seem as good as Cindy to me, and way harder to play compared to Cindy. Cindy is so much less squishy, and that honestly matters. And I think Cindy's faster than Quicksilver as well, which is kind of hilarious. Okay. Let's go ahead and try to... First of all, not die. There we go. But yeah, if you were going to use a rotation for Quicksilver, it would be a... I just had my 6th skill basically canceled. A rotation for Quicksilver. Let's just wrap it up there. That's pretty good. So he can do stage 9, but you can see he's struggling a lot more than he should be, in my opinion. I think Silk finished that with 2 minutes left. So he looked like he was going to finish that a lot slower than she did. Again, he doesn't have chain hit damage. Oh, he has chain hit damage now, a little bit, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not terribly impressed with this uniform personally. I think for PvP, there may be more value. I don't think it's going to be for timeline battle. I think it's going to be for something like Conquest, especially to take down a bunch of blast types, because he'll be able to just chop them down. But his performance against Mephisto, for me, is not really selling me on the character, especially considering how strong Captain America Sam Wilson is. He's just insanely good, and so we don't really need a more expensive version of him who's not as good. Right, and Captain America Falcon has way better healing. He's got 120% heal instead of a 10% heal, and he does way more damage, and he has way more defensive capabilities. So yeah, I'm gonna test him out with some other builds and see what we can do. But right now, I am not high on the Quicksilver stocks. Right now, I would not be buying Quicksilver stocks if I was a character, or if I was a player who had to choose my character uniforms carefully. So yeah. Hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of the Quicksilver Summer Days uniform, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.